Oh hey, recently the Nintendo Switch finally got its first Nintendo 64 game, and with a legacy of classic N64 games like Mario 64, GoldenEye and Smash, any number of beloved games would have felt right at home on Nintendo's hit handheld console hybrid. Instead, we got Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, which is a bad game.
But look, bad games can be fun, and even if they don't exactly hold up in 2019, it is still really cool to have the option to play them on a modern console. And since Nintendo is taking its sweet time bringing their actually great N64 games to Switch via Virtual Console, here are 7 bad N64 games we want on Nintendo Switch, even though they suck.
Chameleon Twist is a bad game about a chameleon who uses his tongue to grab poles and swing around a room collecting money, like some sort of color-changing reptile stripper man. It controlled like if you tried to play Mario 64 with a rusty nail instead of a joystick. The game featured several memorable enemies, such as a water drop with googly eyes, fire with googly eyes, and an ice cream sandwich with googly eyes. I bought this game with my own money and beat it with my own depression, and I can confidently state it's hot garbage with googly eyes. Game sucks! Bring it back.
CRUIS'N USA! The dream of the N64 was finally being able to bring competent 3D arcade game ports home and play them without spending a whole roll of quarters and getting yelled at by your mom for wasting laundry money. Unfortunately, dragging those games out of the dark, dingy corners of the arcades often exposed them for the bad games they were, and CRUIS'N USA was no exception. CRUIS'N USA is a low-res racing game composed entirely of ugly 2D sprites and music that sounds like it came from a wrestler's ass. Of course, it was the late 90s, so that was only a slight downgrade from how real-life cars looked and how actual popular music sounded at the time.
20 years ago, the idea of putting South Park on N64 was the equivalent of putting Thanos in Fortnite, a chocolate and peanut butter combo of zeitgeist, Hot Topic cash-in brand synergy. One of the 3 South Park games released on N64, South Park's already low poly aesthetic got turned into a first-person shooter where you threw piss-covered snowballs at wild turkeys. And while this game could have been a lot worse, it's still a licensed N64 game, and if that foggy-ass draw distance makes you think of Turok, that's probably because it's running in the Turok 2 engine. Piss-covered snowballs in your hands. Bring it on back for Switch. Split Joy-Cons. Let you and your friend use piss-covered snowballs together on the road. On the airplane with your pissy hands. Did I do that again? That was bad.
Duke Nukem 3D is a phenomenal, albeit offensively dated first-person shooter which was revolutionary when it was first released because it contained tons of cussing and hooters, which kicked ass if you were in 5th grade when it came out, like I was.
Hooters, Nakas, lamps, tanks, whistles, missiles, bumbles.
Unfortunately, when the game got ported to N64, it had to check its balls of steel at the door to make it a little more family-friendly, so Duke's bawdy one-liners basically got censored like an R-rated movie on TBS. Oh, and by the way, N64 didn't have enough storage for the full soundtrack, so it was really awkwardly quiet. I propose that in the year of our Lord 2019, the full, proper, unadulterated version of Duke Nukem 3D gets dumped on Switch because we're not in 5th grade anymore and we're old enough for Nintendo games with cussing and hooters, damn it!
Knockers. Speaking of Duke Nukem, if there was a Duke Nukem Forever before Duke Nukem Forever, it was DAIKATANA. FPS auteur John Romero's massively hyped follow-up to Doom and Quake, DAIKATANA was literally advertised with Romero's promise of making you his But when the game finally dropped on PC and Nintendo 64, it was a commercial and critical flop, even at the budget price of $19.99. So clearly, it's reported to Nintendo Switch for the sake of historical preservation, and because I too, once more, on the go or at home, want to be made his
I too would like to be the with DAIKATANA. Clay Fighter 63 1/3 took Mortal Kombat's digitized actors approach and replaced the actors with mounds of wet mud and forced them to fight each other with soggy controls and worse hit detection like some kind of horrible fever dream about Gumby. Pick your favorite characters such as mostly naked Santa with a Utilikilt, or emaciated clown who looks like he's about to die, or Booger Man. Remember Booger Man? And then battle until your dad comes home and drives you back to Funko Land to trade in this piece of crap for something nominally better, like Army Men, Sarge's Heroes 2, which yes, also sucked.
I think it's pronounced Boogerman.
Boogerman?
The Mortal Kombat franchise has always been an unabashedly fun gathering of hell demons, robots, weird women in leotards, and theater actors who all punch each other to death until their skulls explode. It rules! But in 1997, Midway decided to launch a new spin-off series of side-scrolling, story-driven Mortal Kombat games called MYTHOLOGIES. The The first and last one focused on Sub-Zero and was so bad it murdered the entire spin-off series forever, and MK went back to its fighting game roots, never looking back again!
Fatality.
That's what happens when you kill someone in that game. It says that on screen. You rip it out.
One more for safety.
No. Wow, those games suck. But they're good, but they're bad. But they're fun to play, but they suck. You should know that. But it's okay if you like them, even though they're kind of sucky.
It's okay to like bad things. What bad things do you want to see on Switch? And what bad things have you convinced yourself are actually great because you haven't played them in 20 years? Let us know in the comments, and for everything good, bad, and everything in between, keep it right here on IGN.